So the question is, do you remember your first train set? Let's get on and see where we're going with this one. So, as some of you have seen on the previous video, I won an eBay auction for a train set. Really didn't know I'd won it, and the first time I knew I had was literally when it come through the door. So I know some of you are going to think, how can you do that? That's not possible. Well, when you've got a few things on eBay, you know, that all come to a close. I only look at eBay once every few days, and then you get a notification, pay now, so I just do. I don't look at what it is, I just pay. That's how you end up with a train set. So anyway, I mentioned that I don't want it and I don't need it, and I want to probably sell it. So at a recent exhibition I was at, I can't remember where it was now, but I don't think that's really important, is it? But anyway, I was at an exhibition recently and I was talking to the Triang Man. You've made me mention him before. We always end up buying quite a bit of stuff off him. I've remembered. Today is Sunday the 10th of August. It was a week Saturday gone and he was at the Redcar and Cleveland Model Rail Show. And I was chatting to him about it and, you know, said to him, I don't really want it. I'm going to clean it up, test it, blah, 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 and then probably sell it. So he turned around and said, next time you're at the show where I am, bring it in, we'll have a trade. Saves me messing about with eBay, saves me messing about with postage, packaging, etc, etc, and just literally shove it in the car and take it with me. And I know I'll get a decent trade out of him because I know what he sells this kind of thing for, and I know I'm going to make my money and then some. But it's not about the cash. We'll have a trade with what's on his stand versus what he's going to credit me. So what's today's video about? Because you're rattling on. Today's video is about me getting it ready for sale, or exchange I should say. I won't bore you too much, but I've already been through all of the track. There's quite a bit of track came with this one. I've been through all of it. I have checked all the fish plates, put them, you know, two pieces of track together, nipped in on each side where it's a little loose or a little bent or whatever else. And then I've been soaking my track rubber, amazes me why they call it a rubber, been soaking my track rubber in isopropyl and then backwards and forwards on the track as you do. They are very, very dirty pieces of track. This set has obviously been used and never been cleaned because it's taken quite a while. But I did save one piece, and that'd be this one. But I put my glasses on so I can see if you can see exactly what's wrong with that. So this is how it's come out of the box, and on closer inspection it hasn't popped out of the chairs. The chairs are broken. So we're going to fix the chairs with a little bit of, well, not fix the chairs, we're going to fix the rail down with a little bit of super glue. I'm going to get this last one cleaned up. Again, I'll spare you that because you all know how to clean track, and I'm sure you don't want to watch me cleaning the track. The video generally is going to be about fixing up the few small issues with the coaches, pulling the loco apart, do a full service, clean the engine up and everything, and test the power pack and then apply it to the track. So yeah, we'll come back to you when this doesn't look like that anymore. Okay, so you can see super glue's on. We're just waiting for it to set, and then I'm going to deal with the track. But whilst we're waiting for that to go off, a little presentation doesn't harm. So we're just going to put together the track sections so you can see there, got them pretty clean. I'm quite happy with them. If you'd seen this 5 minutes ago, it was rotten. And that is the comparison. So if you look at it dead on, there's no shine to it at all. But if you look at that, dead on, definitive shine. So there's two long straights, you know, sort of like, I don't know what they are in length, but I'll take a wild guess at a foot, maybe a foot and a bit, something like that. I don't really know. It's old Hornby track, so it won't be none of this metric kind of stuff. But we've got two of them, and we have 11 short straights, and it's called a railer, but that to me is a, what do you call it, to unhook your carriages where it comes over and flicks it up. This was an absolute pig to clean, because that track is buried below, let me see if I can get this closer. The track is buried below the plastic on the sides. So where I was using the track rubber before to do it all with, I had to use one of these. So it's just a standard nail file. Works quite well. So this goes in the pack on its own, so we're going to leave that there because it has its own compartment. But then all of these short sections here all go in one section of the box. So we'll just put them together. Put a nice little blue band on this time. He said blue ribbon there. Must be thinking of my favourite chocolate bar, possibly. Anyway, so I know it doesn't need it because they're in styrofoam boxes, you know, with the cutouts and everything else, but I just thought it makes it look a little tidier, a little more presentable, shall we say. So we've got that one, we've got that goes on its own, we've got that, and then there's the rest of the curves, 8 obviously, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I was going to start this video showing you me cleaning these, and I thought, but who on earth wants to watch some bloke cleaning tracks? It's probably the thing that most layout owners absolutely hate having to do. And I thought, yeah, there won't be many people who are going to sit there and look at somebody else cleaning track when they can't be bothered to do it themselves. But if you are interested, I think I mentioned it a couple of seconds ago, it was just a standard Pico track rubber, and I also soaked the track rubber in, I'm thinking I've lost one, but it's here. I also soaked the track rubber in some isopropyl just to help shift some of the dirt, because there's so much muck on these, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I didn't want that. So I'm going to shut it off again for a second or two, and then I'll come back, as I forgot I haven't cleaned this one yet. But again, you can see, put your dead on, it's nearly the same colour as the track. I'm going to get this one done, get the one done that's got been glued down, and then we'll come back, so I honestly don't have to bore you to tears with watching me messing about doing this. Right, so there's my broken section. Oh look, silly boy, I don't mind showing my mistakes. I took all the clips off far too soon. So dig out my super glue thingy stuff. This gear, I'm sure you've all seen it. Activate that. I wasn't going to bother using it, but clearly I don't have a choice, because it didn't set. So I just wanted to show you that we had actually done that, despite what I'd said. I've got that one that you've just seen is now clean, as you can see, dead onto the camera. So it shows you they are extremely dirty, these things. So now I am going to make you watch. But while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you about some up and coming videos. So, as a lot of you will have seen in past videos, I bought loads of rolling stock and I buy lots of locals. I had that big buy when I decided to see how many trains I could buy for 380 quid, I think it was, which was the cost of the Bachmann Class 20s. And 2 weeks ago or so, I was at the show up in Tyneside and I saw something on the stands and I thought, you know what, I've never thought about that. So what was it I hadn't thought about? Well, all railways have got DMUs and I only have 2, or should I say only had 2. The original stuff that I bought years ago when I originally started this channel, they're just the crappy old Triang ones, but my plan was always the same, was to work on them, maybe repaint them, and get them, you know, in a nice running order. So we decided that, right, we'll have some DMUs, and what sparked it was one particular trade stand was selling a 3-car set in a box for 55 quid. Now at this point I had already been looking to see where we were at with prices. There you go. Now you can tell it's silver or just steel. Anyway, so I bought it for 50 and then that set me off on a mission. So I'm not going to reveal too much now because it is going to be the next video to come out. But we now have a DMU fleet. I want to show you what they are, show you some of the ones I've bought, what needs to be done to them, etc, etc. I want to show you what I bought, what needs to be done to them, what's wrong, blah blah blah, all that usual stuff. And tell you what I paid for them, because boy, a DMU's expensive. I can majority of them buy 2 locos for the sake of 1 DMU, and yes, you can argue that you've got, you know, a power car and a trailer, so you're not buying 1 loco, but you are, because there's only 1 engine in them, so you're only buying 1 loco. And then if you can't get a 3-car set, which I kind of want 3-car sets, then there's the extortionate cost for the coaches that go in the middle. Absolutely shocking costs. But we'll discuss all that on the next video. Right, so I've finished my track. It's all polished up. It's all the fish plates are sorted. Everything appears to be in good working order. Looks fine. So now we're going to retire them to the box. And then we're going to get the coaches out and get them dealt with. These are the 3 coaches out of the railway set. All Mark IIs, as you can see. There is honestly, all of them are unmarked. They don't even look play 1, but a lot of them are missing the hook out of the end. I've got 5 out of the 6 are missing, so I'm dug into my spares box. I buy lots of bogies when there's, like, you know, somebody selling a lot of them. I'll buy them because you never know when you're going to want a bogie, and in my case, in this particular instance, it gives me the hook that I want to put these back into action. So I'm not going to bore you with that because it's simple. Pull it off, stick it on. It just kind of, you've got to feed it through the D-ring. Sorry, wait, I'll get you in a picture. You've got to feed it down through the D-ring and then hook it up and over. That's it. Nothing fantastic about it. So I'm going to pull off 5 hooks, fit them to the coaches, and then we'll come back and then we'll get stuck into the actual loco itself. which is this beauty here. Now, to be honest, I hate these. I think they call them, is it Baby Delta X or something? I think they're ugly as sin. Don't ask me why, because I haven't got a clue. I just think they are. I'm really not fussed on them. But I've got to say, again, immaculate condition. Not a mark on it. All the transfers are all dead on. There's no signs of fingerprints anywhere. There's nothing. I almost think that maybe the guy who did have this had cleaned it, if it wasn't for me finding things like big manky hairs stuck in the wheels. Traction tyres look to be fairly decent. The wheels could do with a clean, but it's the motor that obviously we are more interested in. So let's see if I can get any power out of this thing. We'll give it a go. Well, unless my battery's dead, this is a no, not working. I don't think my battery's dead. I don't think it's not. I've hardly used it, so I can't see it being a battery. So it looks like we're onto a non-runner next. Here we go. 3 coaches, all coaches complete with hooks. So for those of you who are going to do it, I said it's fairly easy. It can be. For starters, you need to make sure you've got the right hooks. Lima hooks, as far as I'm aware, are slightly different, slightly smaller. So you kind of want, in my instance, Hornby hooks. But it's really difficult to see it. But at the end of the hook, there's like a 3/4 loop, and it's got to fit into a little pin at the end so that it will pivot backwards and forwards. Anyway, time to get on with this now. Let's see if that helps. Never done one of these before, so I've gone straight away to the old pull the buffers out and see what happens kind of scenario. And then don't look if you're going to scream. I'm about to use a screwdriver. Just there we go. Lift the side of the cab off. Right, well, there's not a good start. You've got a wire going nowhere. Inside of there looks pretty clean, to be honest. It's got nice cab interiors in it. But yeah, there, that's what we're looking at. So we've got a wire here, and if I'm honest right now, not a clue where it's supposed to go. It's obviously meant to clip on somewhere, otherwise it wouldn't be sitting like that. Or did they take it? Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. I'm wondering what was the takeoff for. Doesn't make any sense. We've got neutral coming over the back side over here. We've got a neutral there. But where has the glide come from? Okay, let's take it out of its frame and have a better look. So we're just gonna carefully, when you're doing this, just prise this little tab, he says. That's it. Prise it so that this can come out, and then we've got the motor. So let's try my battery direct to the motor and see what happens. Aha, we have life. Aha, we did have life. It turned. There. Put you near the speaker on this thing. Don't know whether you can hear that, but she's definitely turning. However, there you go, that's a little bit better. So that tells me that we've got a problem with the pickups, because if I can get power now, I mean that's not fast by any means. I've seen these motors go a lot quicker. So I have a feeling that it's dirty and needs a clean. But I'm still at a loss. Oh, we've got a nice big clump of hair right here. Let me just dig that out now. Oh yeah, that's quite possibly what's causing it to run slow. It's in there quite tight. I'm probably going to be better off. There's one on this one as well. I'm probably going to be better off. I mean, I was going to, but what I mean is I'm better off trying to get these out once all of this is disassembled. But I'm still struggling to see where the hell this tab is meant to be attached to pick up current. Sorry, I know I'm off screen. I'm just leaning on the edge of the table a minute. I'll be back in a second, folks. That corky doesn't want to come off as easily as it should. So, not a lot of weight in this thing. It's quite light. If I was going to keep this, I would definitely be adding more weight to it. But again, I don't see anywhere. I don't think it's picking up it's not picking up from the rear wheels, so I think I can discount them. And I've got to figure out where it's supposed to be picking up from on this, because right now I don't see any pickups. So for you folks, this is but a second later. For me, it's the weekend after, and also I forgot to press record when I was working on these parts. So what did I find? Well, I've stripped this bogie completely. It's clearly been run on a carpet because the axles were just bound up with hair, and I mean completely bound up. So much so that I had to use a knife and cut along the axle to peel the stuff away. So that's been done. We cleaned up the axles because looking on the service sheet, when I was talking about this wire that was off, it actually connects to these, well, that one in particular there. So obviously these axles are picking up and are transferring through the metal chassis, so all the axles were cleaned because they're just sitting in the bottom of this. And then we've cleaned the wheels as well because they were quite messy. So we've done that part. We got from the service sheet where this cable attached, because I've never come across this previously, so we know where that goes now. But let's get to the motor. So I did get it running off a battery, but it was quite slow and quite sluggish. So this is when I'd forgot to press record. I've completely disassembled this, 100%. Completely disassembled it. These wheels were like the wheels on the other bogie, just completely bound up in hair. They were even in these driving cogs on these wheels, just matted with hair. On this side, where you've got the gears, or the cogs, whatever you want to call them, these also had hairs hanging out of them, and as we got to the underneath, again bound up with hair, just an absolute mess. So we've stripped it completely, we've cleaned everything, we've removed every last strand of hair and fluff. There is, you know, it doesn't look like it, but there is some grease on these. I put a small amount of grease on and then ran them in. On this side we have had the springs out and the brushes as well. Took the casing off, and inside the motor wasn't too bad, but it was caked with crap around the magnet, so that's all been cleaned off. And on the actual motor itself, it was kind of black, simple as that. So that was cleaned up. I actually used isopropyl alcohol and a cotton bud just to wipe it all down. And then, as you've no doubt seen on 100 other videos, where you've got the segments between the poles, I just dipped a cocktail stick and just wiped them out to make sure that they were clean and there was no way that, you know, they would connect in any way. So it wasn't till I was putting it back together that I realised the camera wasn't recording. However, at that point I was putting the brushes and the springs back in, and you all probably know where this is going. Guess who lost a spring? That'd be me. So that one's in. This one, even though it's bent over, isn't in. That's bent down because it's holding the brush from falling out. Now the other thing you might notice possibly is the way that I have these bent. Now these tend to sit flat against the plastic at the back, and I don't like that, because when you fold these down there's a little indent there which I feel should sit dead center of the spring, but when you fold them down they don't, they sit slightly up from the spring. So what I do is I'll bend them, I'll put like a small screwdriver in here underneath, bend it over that and then flatten it again, and that's why I get that strange shape where my spring goes like that and then does this. It's just to make sure. Look, I can still see a hair on there, but that might be a cat hair. So yeah, we've had a real good go at it. I went to Peter Spares on Monday, that's Monday gone, because I was hoping to have this video out last week, and I would have if I hadn't lost the spring. So I went to Peter's on Monday, too busy during the week to be messing about with models. So yesterday it was a day out again with Mitchell at a railway exhibition. So today is put the spring in, stick a battery on it and see how well it runs. I'm sure if it ran before it's going to run a whole lot better now. So we're going to pop the spring in, test it with the battery, see how well it runs. Then we're going to assemble the whole loco back together again. And one thing I did learn from the service sheet, I mean it's kind of obvious when you're looking at that, you can tell this is the motor end and you can tell that this is the trail and bogie end, but for some reason Hornby put an asterisk right at the very front of the chassis, which denotes the front of the loco. Not sure why they felt the need to do that when that's clearly to house a motor, because that would not fit in here. So I'm going to add a little bit extra weight because this is really light. Yes, I know I'm not keeping it, so does it matter? Well, not really, no, but I'd rather do it. So I'm going to stick some extra weights in there, which are them alloy wheel weights. I bought them off, I think it was eBay or Amazon, and then get this thing put back together. And then the last thing we've got to do is test the actual power pack. So we'll get it back together, get this all put back together. Not going to bore you with that. I'll chuck the spring in because I don't want you watching me flinging another one over my shoulder, never to be found. We'll assemble it, put it together, then I'm going to test the actual power pack. So I'll put that on for the sake of it, and then we can put it back in its box. We know that it runs, we know everything's fine, everything's been cleaned. As I said, the loco wheels have been cleaned, although they were pretty good to start with. We've replaced the missing coupling hooks that were on them. All the track, as you've seen, has been cleaned. and then we can put it together as a, you know, back to how it should have been, a running, working train set. And then next time we see my friend Mr. Triang Man, we're gonna have a little deal. Okay, so we're all done. I didn't bother turning the camera back on for the sake of me testing the power pack and what have you, but we did run a continuity on this from back bogies to front bogies to make sure we had a connection, because I wasn't overly impressed with that brown wire that went across, but I got continuity, so it must be all good. As I put it together, I come to put the buffers back in here, and I'd lost one, and I wasn't dragging this out for another week, so I did have some resin printed buffers. I think I got them from Rusty Rails, so I've cut off, using a very small Dremel, I've cut off the original buffer beam, the turret, sorry, flattened them down with a file, and then just super glued and activated these on, and then just to coat the black paint. They are ovals as they should be, and they are on both sides. So all I've done, just finished doing, is giving it a quick blast over the bottom end, on bottom of the buffer beam on both ends, with some matte varnish just to protect the paint. That's ready to go. So we've done the power pack. I don't know why things went pop last week, because I couldn't find anything wrong with it, to be honest with you. I've did a continuity test on it. I checked the fuse in the plug of it. Not really sure why things went pop, but I've got voltage. I've tested, it's one of the old Hornby controllers where you've got 3 selectors one way, 3 the other. I've tested each one of the selectors in forward and reverse, and obviously you get increasing voltages as you go to the 3rd stop. So I've got power coming out of the unit. I cleaned up the little 2 brass ferrules that go into the track clip. The guy that owns the Triang Man stand gave me one of those for free, but I have since found one, because I've had a little bit of a sort out on Friday night amongst all my modelling stuff, trying to get it organised again. I tend to spend too much time hunting for things, so I've dragged everything out of cupboard drawers, boxes, and started all over again. So I found another power clip. It's a slightly bigger power clip, so I've just got to get that out of the box that I know I've got it stashed in. I'll clean up the copper terminals on that, chuck it into the box, and then I'll give you the picture of it sitting in its box, finally finished. So we'll be back very shortly. So there we are, all finished, back in its box. So there's the controller. I've taped all the cables up. There's a little power clip that we got off Triang Man, also cleaned and the copper cleaned up. Then we've got all the track that you've already seen, so all the curves, shots. It says it's a railer, but it looks more like an uncoupler. 2 long straights, the loco which we've just done, and the 3 carriages. And then, as you can see, it's even come with all of its original paperwork, so the service dealer network, operating instructions, and locomotive operation and maintenance. And if you look, pull that down a little, you can see the date, 5/6/1979, so it's 46 years old. Not bad looking there for a 46-year-old train set. So there you go. Now you've seen what we've got there. Next video to come is when I unveil the DMU fleet that I've been purchasing. So we'll see you next time round. Thanks to anyone who's joined recently. Thanks to all my other subscribers for just continuing to put up with my drivel. And we look forward to seeing you. Catch you later. Bye bye now.